Okay, hello folks. I thought I would do an orientation video for you today, just to give you an idea of how online courses generally work, how this class in Canvas works. So it makes it a bit more seamless, hopefully getting into the course. So first and foremost, this is the main Canvas page, but as we get into that, understand that even though this is a general Zoe class, this is a DLON version of a general Zoe class. So let's talk about DLON, DLive, and traditional classes for a moment. This being DLON means it's fully online. There are no live lectures. There's no time to meet. It's not like you're going to meet on a 9 a.m. on a Tuesday and a Thursday and have a lecture. Nothing like that. The DLive-C do that. They have a formal day and time to meet. And certainly traditional does. Traditional would be you're going up to campus on a Tuesday and a Thursday and actually having a meeting, that sort of idea. Not here. That's not how this works. So this is very much student driven. I'll be here. I'll try to interact with you. We have activities to do, discussion board, for example, all sorts of stuff like that. But it's really a student driven. And I would hope that's what you're signing up for. Understanding that DLON, it's you reading a book and reading your notes and asking questions and doing the discussions, doing the labs. It's a C class. It's combination lecture labs. And very much are engaged in that kind of regard. If not, this is not going to go very well. So again, kind of keep it in mind. Make sure that's the kind of class you're looking for. So with that being said, this is the homepage on Canvas, your Canvas page. You obviously, general zoology, that kind of idea. One of the best places to start, especially you're new to Canvas, is right here. Obviously, an orientation video. And this is Canvas's view. This came from the college, very nicely done by HCC. And it's just that, opened up and just go ahead and push play. Here you go.
In this video, you will learn how to navigate your dashboard, courses, and global navigation menu in Canvas.
There you go. Great. Very nicely done. Shows you how to kind of move around, that kind of idea. I'll show you for our class anyhow how to move around, but it's really a nice place to start. And they have a follow-up to that. This is a resource video. It's kind of the same deal then. Different information by you, but same kind of formatting. There you go. And just push play.
In this video, you will learn about the help resources available in Canvas.
There you go.
Please note.
Nice. Nicely done. So again, start there. After that, I put in my own little bits on how to start. Read over the syllabus, read over the files, look and see what's there, although we're going to do that now. Announcements like, I tend to be a very communicative professor. So make sure you're reading these announcements and check them all the time, including weekends. I had a student a few semesters ago now who was apparently rather surprised that they were supposed to check announcements regularly. And they actually made a comment to me, rather grumpy actually, saying, well, this is a Tuesday, Thursday class. It actually was. I should only check it on those days, the day we have class. No, that is not how college works. Might be how K through 12 does what they do, but not us. So there's a lot of things going on. It's very dynamic what happens in college. Life is messy, whatever it is. And so things happen outside of class that could easily impact the class, which means you need to be aware of it. So you need to check this regularly. So go right there. There's the announcements link on the left side of the pane here. Click on it. And look at that. I've already got 3 announcements for you. Oh my gosh, the class hasn't even started yet. And so the first announcement, which is really for the first day of class, which means the 10th of January, today, hopefully today, if you're doing it on the first day. And it's pretty much talking about at least a summary of everything I'm going to talk about in this video. It's all right here for you, what DLON course is about. Here's a link on how to sign up for Teams and kind of install it, a sort of idea, instructions for use. That's the best way to put it. It's all there for you. There's your folders link. I'll talk about that in a minute. Again, how homework's about, all that kind of stuff is here for you. Making sure, oops, sorry, that jumped. Did not mean for that to jump. Making sure that you carefully and thoroughly read stuff like your syllabus. One thing with the syllabus, when COVID happened, a lot of it's kind of got thrown into teaching online. I never taught online before. I thought about it, but it just never happened. I was a traditional professor. I was in class, that kind of idea. And then COVID happened and it was nothing but online. So yeah, there was no training really for that. I've taken a few classes here on what online's about, but it's like, now you just got to do it. And so there was no planning of that. From what I remember, it was really spring of 2020, spring break came and hey, guess what? You're not coming back. That's pretty much what happened to all of us. So here we are. And so what I ended up doing for the next class I taught really when I'm starting online was took my syllabi from my traditional classes and just used them in the online. Why not? I've been using them for years in my traditional classes. I mean, they obviously evolve over the years, but it never really was more than like 5 pages. And that seemed to be fine. I never really remember any people being unhappy with it. And then I went online. It's like everybody, not everybody, but a lot of people were unhappy with it. And the main criticism was, well, we're not here with you. We can't be there to talk to you and ask a lot of questions. We can email, but that doesn't always work. So we need the syllabus to be more thorough is really what I was getting from them. Okay, So I sat down and I thought about it. What is it that I usually talk about on a day like today, a first day in class where I'm going over the syllabus? What's really my spiel, if you will? And I sat down and I pretty much typed it all out. And it went from 5 pages to around like 16 pages. And for the vast majority of students, that worked fine. Although interestingly, for a few students, they got the exact other argument. Oh my God, now it's too thorough and it's too dense. I can't read through it. I can't find anything, which is rubbish. I've got a table of contents. I'll get an email like, hey, I don't know how many exams we have. Really? Did you go to the examination part of your syllabus where it says you have 3 exams in this class or 5 exams in this class or whatever it is? Did you not read that? Or did you not take a look at the tentative schedule, which shows you all the exams and when they happen? I mean, I get questions like that all the time, which means please, 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 carefully and thoroughly read over your syllabus before you ask questions. I get many emails, faculty and students and staff and administrators and outside the college. I get so many emails, no help. We don't have like TAs or anything like that. So I get zero help on any of this, including like homework. It takes me forever to get through homework because of that. So kind of bear that in mind. Try to answer the question yourself. You are in college, you're an adult, you're in college, you should act like it. And in that case, you really should be able to answer some information on your own. It takes you 10 seconds to go to the table of contents. Oh, it's page 9. Go to that page. Oh, there you go. I have 5 tests in this class. Great. When's the next test? Tentative schedule. Oh, there you go. It's the 23rd of February is the next test. Great. Cool. Right there. Took yourself a minute to do all that. Cool. And I even included in the syllabus of frequently asked questions. I actually have that because I kept getting the same question again and again and again and again, trying to save us both a little bit of time. And then I talk about what extra credit is and how to approach answers to questions, how long to give yourself on a test. And I actually note that there. Don't give yourself any more than 35 to 40 seconds per question. We'll never make it through a test in time, that kind of idea. I'll talk about that when we get to that in syllabus. Again, I even have the note, there's an orientation video, although you already know that because you're watching the orientation video. But maybe you just came into the class and went right to the announcements. Oh, hey, he's got an orientation video. Cool. Although I noted that I use students that would like read some of this and don't read it all and were surprised. Oh, there's an orientation video. Yeah, there was. So I actually gave you an announcement saying there's an orientation video, because I'm really trying to help you out. Again, I tend to be very communicative, that kind of idea. And then, of course, as you'll see in my syllabus, you have to send me an email from your HCC email to my HCC email, specifically stating you want to stay in the course. So again, I tend to be very communicative. Let's go to the homepage actually. So check these announcements regularly. Make sure you check them even on weekends. Now, PowerPoint notes, your book, that kind of idea, general information on the course, and then of course, my general contact information, obviously my name, my email address. Notice this is my HCC email, not Hawkmail. This is my general HCC email. This works much better for me. And you have a Hawkmail, but this works great for me. And then of course, how emails work. Remember, in the United States, it is email protocol. So you give 24 to 48 hours before sending a second email or a third or whatever it is. 20 to 48 hours, not 24 to 48 minutes. But I've had these things happen. You're like, I wrote you an hour ago. Why haven't you replied? Really? Okay. First off, it's really none of your business. But second, I was in class. I just got the email. So again, remember that. And don't forget about weekends. Might be a surprise to you, but we actually have a life, kind of. We have families, a lot of us. So even though we do a family during the week, weekends are like dedicated to family issues, understandably. So if you send me an email like on Friday afternoon, I may not even see it until Monday. And even then it's Monday, it's the beginning of the week, everything's happening. I've got 300 emails to deal with. I'll get to your email. And I take emails in order that I get them. They were there before you. So unless it's an emergency, it's going to take me time to get to that email. So remember that, Email protocol. Okay, with the general ideas out of the way, let's get to your files. This is pretty much where the meat of the course is. Pretty much everything you need is in this files link. You can see right here, additional labs, the labs themselves, lectures, and of course, syllabus. So let's start with the syllabus in. Obviously, a good place to start. Now, I recommend for anything you're opening, right-click, click the open in a new tab. It tends to work fine. You can just click it and it should work, but this tends to work a bit on the better side. Now, I've coded everything in PDF, which means it should work in every major operating system, and it should be openable by you. It's free. Adobe Acrobat is free. Go and download it if you need to. Now, if you have any troubles with Adobe, don't send me an email saying, well, I can't get Adobe to work. It's free. And if you're having tech issues, talk to Adobe. So everything's in PDF. And actually, there's other reasons why it's in PDF, but that's one of the main ones. So again, general information, including the section number, my contact information, including my office. It is the Science Building on the Delmarva campus. Don't expect to find me on any other campus. My phone number, excuse me, my proper email address. This is where you should be emailing me. Make sure to only use your HC email to email me. Don't use anything else. I don't care if it's .edu. Don't use like USF or any other .edu. Don't use Yahoo or Gmail or anything. Only use your HCC email to talk to me. Send it to this email address. And then I'll show you the office hours in a moment. So the course intended outcomes. This is what the course is about, what you should talk about in the course, that kind of idea. This is set down by the college. This is not set down by any one professor. So usually a committee comes together, they decide this is what the course needs to be about. And so it's sent out. And then when you teach the class, you look here and say, oh, okay, I got to talk about this stuff. So there's a lot here. I mean, look at all this. This is what the college feels you should learn in this class. There's a lot here. So bear that in mind. Don't get grumpy at your professor. Say, well, it's just too much. It's a non-major class. We shouldn't have to learn that much. The college figured this out. If you don't like it, then you need to find a different class. It's that simple. And there is a lot to go through. Now, this is a DLON class. There are no lectures from me. So time-wise, there's no reason why I won't make it through the stuff because I'm not lecturing. But it means you have to get through all this stuff. Now, granted, I'm here. You can ask questions, emails, Microsoft Teams appointments, that kind of idea. So great, but it's a lot to get through. So kind of bear that in mind. And you'll see that in the notes. Holy heck, is this a thorough book and a rather detailed one? There's a lot of notes. And I have all the notes posted for you, but oh my gosh, there's a lot to come through. Welcome to this. There's not much I can do about that, folks. Okay, so because students, some of them, not all of them, some of them were saying, oh my gosh, there's just too much here. And I went from that 5 pages, it's like 16 pages. Yeah, 16 pages. I eventually just put in a table of contents. I'm trying to make it as manageable as I can because students asked for this. They were very clear. We need your syllabus to be more thorough because it's now online. Okie dokie. So that's what I did. And now you shouldn't be able to say, well, I can't figure out how to read your syllabus or to find something. Did you start with a table of contents? Like examination, I mentioned earlier. Okay. So if you want about exams, there it is. It's on page 9 to 10. Great. Go to page 9 and read your way through it. And then if you have a question, ask me. So you can see everything we're going to do right here. Let's take it one at a time. All right. COVID issues, COVID policies. Now notice these are college policies, got nothing to do with me. And it might seem strange to you, why does he have this for an online class? A couple of reasons. And primarily, I don't know where you're doing this. I don't know where you're doing the information. I don't know where you're working your way through the subject matter. Maybe you're at campus. And if you're on campus, you need to know the policies. You can't have like a mask issue as well. I was never told. Well, my professor didn't tell me. Well, yeah, I did. It's right here. This is set down by the college. So keep that in mind. Now, that means the college requires that if you're not feeling well, if you have any kind of symptoms for anything, you cannot come. You cannot be there. It's that simple. Even if you're dead set, oh, it's just the allergies. You can't be there. Sorry. It's that simple. I get allergies. I just feel miserable sometimes with allergies. Welcome to the new world we live in. Wearing a mask. So this is where politics come in. I actually had a student in one of my classes, environmental science pops up because it's just rife with politics. Remember after the first lecture, they wrote me and they were so angry. Science should not have politics. Why do you have politics in your class? It should be apolitical. She was really angry. Yeah, that person doesn't understand how science works. It was the first day of class, mind you. They didn't give me a chance to even explain anything. It was right after the first lecture. And I, as politely as I could, she had like 19 different points. I had to take point by point by point what was going on. And I did. She was fine with it. She thanked me after that and stayed in the class, did very well. Great. But man, they were on the position that they're apolitical. That's not how science works. In a perfect world, should science be apolitical? Sure. But welcome to reality. And particularly in that class, it was an environmental science class. Yeah, environmental science, that field is a mix of ecology and politics. Policy. Welcome to the field. It's that simple. And then the other way that really works its way in is money. There's no such thing as a Tony Stark in a basement figuring everything out anymore. It's just not how science works. Science, first off, is a collaborative science. I mean, there are brilliant people out there, don't get me wrong, absolutely, but it's a collaborative science. And then on top of that money, there are very few billionaires out there that are able to do it all on their own. It's just not how it works. So when big projects like that happen, it takes government funding. It's just that simple. NASA, I'm a big fan of NASA for a number of reasons. I'm watching the Webb telescope as we speak. You're in the billions of dollars for that single telescope. So that's a NASA industry issue. Does anybody happen to know who owns NASA? Yeah, you can say, well, the government does. Sure does, but who? And actually, NASA and NOAA are the same. They're actually run by the Department of Commerce. What do you know? So the moment money is involved, here comes politics. Welcome to science, folks. And that's coming very right here. There are no mask mandates in Florida. Okay, I'll let you deal with that politics. I'll let you figure out where you stand on that. HEC, though, really wants you to wear a mask. Notice what HEC says. Expects all faculty, staff, and students to wear a mask while they're inside the buildings. Yep. So remember, if you don't, security might have a bit of a chat with you. Administrator might have a bit of a chat with you, that kind of idea. We can't mandate, but they're like signs everywhere. And if you are symptomatic of any way, shape, or form, even if you're sure it's not COVID, yeah, I'm going to wear a mask. I hate masks. I hate them. I mean, they're uncomfortable. I really don't feel like I can breathe so well. I really don't. Glasses are a nightmare always with them. It's just, I hate it. I hate it, but I always wear them. Always. Every time I go out, I wear one. I've been wearing cloth masks for the longest time. Now I have N95s. I have to. The Omicron variant, cloth masks don't work very well, if at all, against the Omicron variant. So because they may not work at all against Omicron, yeah, you better have an N95. It's even worse. It's so uncomfortable. Glasses, the threads, and being able to breathe, and the glasses, oh, it's just a mess, but I wear it every single day. Every day I'm out. So you expect to see one. Now, no mandate. I'm not going to force you to wear one. I don't know how the college are going to manage that. I mean, that's not my purview. But I'm going to keep myself safe. I'm going to show respect to other people because I follow the science. I don't worry about what any news source says. It's an anecdote to me. Because I'm a scientist, I can actually sit down and read the journal. What is the published literature saying? The unbiased, peer-reviewed, very important, those two, literature saying. And based on that, I'm going to wear a mask. Take the Omicron variant. Well, science doesn't know what it's doing. Everything changes. Yeah, welcome to science. Not that it doesn't know what it's doing, but welcome to science that it changes, of course. So cloth masks were working fine against other variants. They're not against Omicron. Like everything in science, things change. Like everything in life, things tend to change. Science is the same way. New data comes in, we work with the new data. It's just how science works. So new data came in, said you got to ditch those cloth masks, got to go to something better. Okie dokie. Welcome to the science, folks. Science grows. That's why we test, unbiasedly test. So we can see the raw data. What is just the data saying? Not what do I want it to say, what does it say? And then what do we do? And then new data comes in. So, oh, well, that's not working anymore. We got to start doing this now. Okay, doesn't mean the past data was bad. It changed. So I wear a mask. I hate it. I wear a mask. HEC really wants you to wear a mask. Now, forget, they have kiosks, and you can go get one of the masks at the kiosk, that kind of idea. Same with hand washing. You should be doing it anyhow. I'm a scientist. I do it all the time. And notice, this one just surprised me though. 60% alcohol. Actually, most of the research I read says it should be 70% alcohol, but okay. Yep. I tote a little alcohol bottle with me. It's like Perel's. I just got to make sure that whatever I'm using is 60% for me, 70% or higher. So between these two, I'm trying to keep myself safe. One, because of the science, and two, out of respect for others. And three, my wife happens to have cancer. I'm not taking any risks. None whatsoever. It's that simple. So this is all, again, college policy. It means you got to understand what the college is doing and how they're tracing, and be aware if you're on campus, how to behave, which is where this comes in. You might be surprised again that I have this in an online class, fully online class, no less. Yep. Because I don't know where you're dealing with this stuff. And wherever you're dealing with this stuff, I want you to have some good decorum. So now, granted, this is written more for being in class, but it works the same because maybe we have a Teams appointment or the discussion boards, whatever it is. And amazing, effectively, what this is saying is, when you go to class, you're around college, you're in these discussions, don't be an arse. Just sit down, be an adult, and let's have a nice day, eh? That kind of idea. All right, so what really relates to the course starts up here. There are two things you need for this class, and you must have these. One is the book. See it right here? Now, let's go back to the files. If you go into the files, here's McGraw-Hill, not files, I mean, these are the links in the pane, the left pane. But in these links, you can see McGraw-Hill right there. You click on the connect section and you get connected over to the book. It's right here. There it is, Animal Literacy, 9th edition. And he's so pretty. He's so cute. I'm a huge fan of amphibians. I'm a nerd, I know. Sorry about that, just how I am. Now, there's a lot of stuff in here. Let's go to the first chapter. Alrighty, chapter 1. Pick a chapter. Okay, there you go. And there it is. I don't care if you have the ebook. I don't care if you have the physical book. You need one or the other. You do not need both, but you need one of them. And you can read all this your own. Just read and read and read. Great. And there's page 2 and page 3 and page 4 and so forth. I'm going to show you this in the notes of your syllabus, but I wanted to show you something. Let's get to the end of this. Okay, so at the very end of the chapters, you have a summary. Nice. And then you have a review. Oh my. Yeah, I was a little surprised by this. No multiple choice questions. I get multiple choice tests. Okay. Well, I have to have homework in this class. One, you should have homework anyhow, but it's an online class. I have to be able to guide you somehow. I have to have some participation somehow. So I've been using homework years and years and years. But yeah. My goodness, one, look how many questions I gave you on a single chapter. Ooh. And some of these questions, oh my goodness, are they challenging? Wow. When I read through these questions, I read through all these questions. It struck me more of like a majors class than a non-majors. Okay, so what I did is, let's go back to our syllabus. I'm going to come back to this text in a second. Let me just jump over here because I have it. What I did then is for that chapter, this is chapter 1. You see the review question, chapter 1. I went through and I read every single question. I said, all right, here are the questions I want you to do. There are some really challenging questions and I tried to pick the most realistic ones. There are even some challenging ones here, but there's only so much I can do. So this is only, it's like 7 questions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, 7 questions. Out of, what was it, 17? No, more now. Oh my gosh, 21 questions. So you don't have to do all these. You want to do all of them, knock yourself out. But these are the only ones you have to do. And 7 is more than enough, in my opinion. And you can see I blocked it off. For exam 1, here are the chapters. Here are the questions you have to do at the end of those chapters. I'll give you 3 of them in chapter 3. They were just really hard, or there weren't many, that kind of idea. I'm trying to make it as reasonable as I can. And I did that for every exam and all the chapters we have to deal with. So let's go back up here where we were. Oh, went too far, sorry. Text, where'd you go? There it is, okay. So that's your textbook. The physical book, the ebook, I don't care, read the chapters, and then when you're ready, start on the review questions. The second thing you need is a lab manual, but I got permission to post it for you. You don't have to pay a penny, isn't that nice? So let's go back to our files, go to labs, and right here, there it is. There you go. It's all here ready to go. All the labs. It's really nicely done lab manual, but one of the professor, John Whitlock at HEC, did an excellent job. Now, what's challenging here is these are labs that were made for in-person on campus. To go from in-person to online, it's really hard to adjust a lab that way. So I'll guide you as much as I can. Now, some of these labs are incredibly short, like 1 page. So I can find one real fast. Some of the specimen labs are like that. So let me show you that. Amphibia comes to mind for some reason. So let's see if I can find Amphibia. Unfortunately, in the table of contents, you can't just touch the link and go right down to it. You got to scroll down. So give me a second here. Almost Amphibia. There's Animalia. So we're almost there. Annelida, almost there. Ecdysons, Molters. Ooh, I did really almost there. Deuterostomia, definitely almost there. There it is. Okay. So Gnathostoma, that's a jawed organism. Obviously, sharks would fall into that. Chondrichthyes, shark scales raise chimeras, and that, of course, elasmobranchii, which is what you're seeing here, but that means you're pretty much getting towards amphibia. So you got to really look at this. Notice it goes right here. Sarcopter regii are lobe-fin fish. And so you can see that here, beautiful, beautiful fossil, stunning. Right after that is amphibia. So you got to look really closely sometimes. And so notice amphibia doesn't have much there. So they have some specimens. I'll try to probably find some pictures for you, that kind of idea. So sometimes it's not even a page, some of these labs, but it's all here and it's free. And some of these pictures, look at how lovely these are. Mr. Whitlock just did an outstanding job with this, but it's also free. So isn't that nice? And again, I'll try my best to guide you through this, to try as well as I can to take it from being in class to online. Now, some of these labs won't need any of my help. You can just read it and do it, that kind of idea. Some of them will. Any lab that needs my help, I'm going to stick that extra information right here in the additional labs. Notice I don't have anything yet for you. We're not there yet. When I do, I'll put it there for you. So I'll guide you again as much as I can. So make sure again you're checking those announcements regularly, including the discussions when they happen. I kind of give summaries in there as well. All right, so let's go back to our syllabus. Let's get rid of the lab manual for a minute. Okie dokie. So you need both of those, and the book, and then you already have it. You don't need to do anything. The lab manual is there for you. Okay, so attendance. It's mandatory, but how do you make attendance mandatory in a fully online class that doesn't have any meetings? So we had to get kind of creative. So I did it a few ways. First off, notice you are required to do this quiz. Now it's extra credit, but you're required to do it. Don't interpret extra credit as being optional. It just means whatever question I give to you can't hurt you anyway. Only points to benefit you. And you can see when it will happen, which means right here in the quizzes, this is where all your exams are going to be happening. Right now, there's just a quiz there because it's the only thing coming up. There it is. You can see it's going to happen on January 19th at 9 a.m. I'll come back to that time in a moment. Don't worry yet. Let me come back to that. So you have to do this. Even though it's extra credit, you have to do it. That's one way to show attendance. You did something for me. By the 22nd of January, you must send me an email from your HCC saying, I want to be in the class. I want to stay in the class. You must have participation in the discussion board, which helps me with attendance. Of course, you'll be submitting homework. You have a Gordon Rule of class, and you'll be taking exams. All of that can be used for attendance. Whew, difficult to do in a fully online class, but we found a way. Now, bear in mind, even though this is the only way attendance happens, there's only so much faculty can do. And one thing we cannot do is add or drop you, withdraw you from a course outside of one thing. It's called the WN. A WN stands for withdrawn non-attendance. That's exactly what it means. If you never attend a class, and in this course's case, which means by the 22nd, if you haven't taken the quiz and or sent me that email, you will be dropped from the course because WN grades are due like by the end of like the second week of the semester, they're due by that point. So if you haven't done these two by that point, you're gone. Sorry, that's college policy. You're out of here if you haven't shown attendance. USF has almost the same thing. Last time I was dealing with USF, I taught up there back in the day. They had a first day drop policy. If you didn't attend on the very first day, you are dropped from the class, no questions asked. HCC is not quite like that, but we have ways of doing things. But it also means that's the only way I can do this. You cannot send me an email at one point saying, class is great, but I'm done, I'm dropping. Good for me to know, I'm sorry you're leaving, but good for me to know, but that doesn't mean you dropped. You must do so formally with HCC. You have to go to the HawkNet place or registrar's office, whatever it is, and formally do it. If you don't, if you're on the rolls at the end of the semester, I have zero choice but to give you a grade. And if you've taken one test out of like 4 or 5, you're going to fail the class. It's that simple. And yes, you can fail the class. The only thing you've done is pay for the right to take the course. That's it. You don't have any notion that just because you paid for the class, you get a good grade. No, that's not how it works. So if you have any questions on how this works, of course, just let me know. Office hours. There you are. I am only on campus this term Tuesdays and Thursdays. I am not there on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So Mondays and Wednesdays, you can see it's online only. There's a time where I'm dedicating to emails. Now, bear in mind, I get a lot of emails. This is where that 24 to 48 hours issue comes into play. I may not have a time to get to your email during that day, or specifically during this time. And if that's the case, I'm sorry, I apologize, but I'll get to you as soon as I can. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, you can see when I'm at HCC, 7:30 to 9 is one set of office hours, and then 12:45 to 1:45 is another set. Around that, I have classes and meetings and all sorts of stuff. I'm part of the engineering club and that kind of thing to go and deal with. And then Fridays, I do have online office hours, which means emails again, as well as discussions will happen. I'll show you that momentarily. Now, you can also schedule Microsoft Teams appointments if you wish. Here's a little blurb on that, including the same link I showed you earlier on how to install it, that kind of idea, how to deal with it. And then, of course, how to make a call. They call them calls, but you're using your webcam and you're calling my computer effectively. You're not calling my cell phone or anything like that. Not my office phone. So it's like this. You'll be able to see and hear me. I have to be able to hear you at least, of course, but you don't have to have your camera on if you don't want to. It's entirely up to you, whatever you want to do. But it's a way to have a meeting. Now, these have to be scheduled. So you can't just say, hey, you're going to meet with me on Tuesday. Really? It has to be a mutually worked out time between you and I. So schedule the appointment, please, and then we'll work it out. Email messages. I've already talked about this a lot, so I don't need to belabor it. But here's a very important point. Please, 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 whenever you send me an email, tell me who you are. If I do not know who you are, it becomes complicating. It has happened before. Well, I have more than one person with the exact same name, even down to the initial, like Bob P. Smith. Okay, so I get a message from Mr. Smith, who, by the way, in the subject line says Bob Smith. And it says, what do we do today? I don't know. I've got 3 Bob Smiths. What class are you in? So I have no idea. So I'll send an email back to Mr. Smith saying, well, who are you? I'll tell you 9 times out of 10, I never get a reply, which means we both wasted our time. But if I get a reply to that, which means an email number 3, oh yeah, I'm Bob Smith in your zoology class. Okay, which means now in email number 4, I could finally say, here's what's going on. What a colossal waste of time for us both. Where if you took 10 seconds of your life and you said, all right, I'm Bob P. Smith in your zoology class, I have this question. It speeds it up a lot. Please don't forget that 24 to 48 hours idea that I've mentioned a few times now. All right, so like I was showing you with the lab manual, this is a C class I mentioned earlier too, combination lecture lab. So we have to have labs, and I'll show you all the labs we're doing again in the tentative schedule. So as I was noting, you have the lab manual. It'll say in the tentative schedule we're doing this lab. Go in the manual, read it, do whatever it asks to do, that kind of idea. Like I was saying earlier, never forget for every lab we do to check that additional labs folder. That's where I'm putting any supplemental information like instructions, extra instructions beyond what's in the lab manual. So again, go back to Canvas. There's your files again. Go into the labs, and of course, right there is your lab manual. Go to whatever we're doing that says in your tentative schedule what we're doing. And then always, always, always check the additional labs, and meaning supplemental information is what I meant by that. Right now, there's nothing there because I haven't had to post anything. And so, oh yeah, for this lab, he needed to talk about that or show this or show that. Okay, which is a little bit more information than what's in your lab manual. It's meant to help you understand. Again, it's really hard to go from full in class to online with the same book. Really hard to do. Don't forget, any questions found in the lab must be done with homework. And of course, information in the labs will be found on your exam. All right, posted files. So back in the files again, I have lectures that are here. Files, there you go. So there's your lectures. All your chapters are here, every single one. So whether you're getting the ebook, the physical book, this supplements that. What I recommend is read the text, so read the chapter, then come here and then focus on the PowerPoint notes. If it's in these PowerPoint notes, you need to know for the exam. It's that simple. You do not need to send me an email saying, what do I need to know for the test? If it's on this chapter and therefore it's in these post-it notes, you need to know it. It's that simple. Every single chapter is here, already there for you. Again, you don't need to ask what's on the test. Homework, like I was showing earlier, at the end of the chapters, you'll see these review questions. There's a lot of them there, and some of them, man, they're really challenging. Really, I was expecting that more in a majors course. Wow, I was impressed. I had nothing to do with the adoption of the book. I'm not saying it's a bad adoption in any way, shape, or form. It's a good book. But it just meant I had to be really selective, really selective. So like I said, numerous challenging non-multiple choice items, really what I meant there. And so, yeah, whew, goodness gracious me. So again, you can do all of them if you wish, but you have to do these. And I blocked it off by exam. So exam 1, chapter 1, those questions, chapter 2, these questions, chapter 3, those questions, chapter 4, those questions. And that's it. That's what you do for homework, along with whatever was in the labs. And there you go. I blocked it off by chapters. Notice when you read through this, you'll see that chapter 5 and 9 are not listed here. Those are 2 chapters I didn't have to worry about for the term because they were not part of the course intended outcomes. So we didn't have to worry about them. Everything I put in here is following the course intended outcomes. Right, go back to where we were. Okay. Again, any questions, let me know. So with that, as I noted to you then, lab questions, you have to answer them for homework as well. When you're answering these questions, doing the lab, the kind of idea, just type it up. I said in a word processing, I give an example, Microsoft Word. And then when you're done with the homework, it's due on the day of the exam, email it to me. It's no more difficult than that. That's how you get the homework to me. And like I said, it's due on the day of the exam. It's due by 11:59 p.m. on the day of the exam. I'll come back to why that picked that time momentarily. And like anything else in college, I don't accept late work outside of extenuating circumstances. And that's pretty much this. Which means death of the family, hospitalization, jail, jury summons, or military duties. Outside of that, yeah, probably not going to accept late homework. It's standard in college. Now, granted, that being said, this is most likely why you do extenuating circumstances. Maybe something very specific is going on. Talk to me. There could be something outside of this that I'm able to work with. Just let me know. Okay, like I said, you'll be doing some discussions for me. As I noted, this is student interaction, student driven. My job is more or less a moderator. I've got a million duties for HCC, which means I can't be sitting on the discussion board all day long every day. But I'm going to check it periodically, make sure people are doing things, making sure nobody's being rude. Of course, if somebody's ever rude to you, alert me to it, and we will go from there. But what I'm going to do on Fridays, I'm going to post a topic for you to talk about. I'm also going to post this, like a little summary of what's been going on, what you should be focusing on, what's coming up, that kind of idea. So it's got more than one issue going on here. And when I post that topic, it's for you to talk about. Like maybe I'll post something like, Why is it so hard to taxonomically identify the Cnidarians? Okay. I mean, I just off the cuff think of something. I'm not saying it's actually hard to do that, but why? And then you guys get to talk about it. Here's one. Thinking of taxonomic identification. Why are the Echinodermata listed as radial and not bilaterals by some scientists? Why? Or why is it that the class Aves is taxonomically invalid? I'm going to pose a question like that, and then you guys get to talk about it. We're not looking for right or wrong answers there. We're looking for you to discuss the information, to talk about it, to grow, to help each other, almost like a study group. That's why I wrote this. The discussion board is meant as a general way to deal with the volume of knowledge that is the field of zoology. Yeah. Here's what it's not meant to be. It is not to be used for any personal issues, including sensitive course topics such as your grades, scheduling appointments with me, etc. You want to do that, talk to me directly. And like I said, it's meant to help you also work with each other, work on the material, grow in the material, but to work with others. Playing nice with others is really important. And so don't be rude. Don't say, you're wrong. Why? You may say something like, well, I don't agree. Here's why I don't agree. And talk about it. Maybe you're pretty set on that, but you find out they're actually right and you're wrong. What do you know? Talk, grow, like a study group in a way, to work through the stuff. Hopefully it'll be fun. That's what it's meant for. Look at that. You guys are the Gordon Rule course. Isn't that lovely? Now, these courses, which ones are Gordon Rule or not? It's set by the college. They're not set by the professor. I didn't go and say, oh, yeah, I'm going to make this Gordon Rule. Nope, college decided that. So here's what's going on with Gordon Rule. So if you're not familiar with this, it typically means one of two things. It means you're either new to college, so welcome, or you're new to College of Florida, which also means welcome, by the way. But here's what's happening. Way back when, a Senator, Gordon, decided that college students were coming out sort of woefully unprepared in mathematics and writing ability. No matter what you might think, he was right about one thing. No matter where you go, you will always be graded on how you write and how you talk. It's just how humans work. So they decided then to help you work on this. And they did two things. With mathematics, it's kind of direct. They would just say, all right, for this field, whatever your degree is, here's how far you have to go. College algebra, pre-cal, cal 1, that kind of idea. Everybody else was kind of hard, though. And that's where writing came up. Now, the general idea of this is good. It's called writing across the curriculum, giving you an example of how to write in a lot of fields. Here's the problem. One, I'm not an English professor, and trying to make non-English professors into English professors, that's not fair. It's not fair for you. It's not fair for us. It's really hard. Now, that being said, I've been writing papers for decades, and none of it a lot of schooling. They're hard. You said, well, I wrote papers in high school, did great. And you get to college and not going so well. Huh? Or you did great in college as well as high school, and then you got to grad school, not going so well. Welcome to learning how to write. I remember vividly when I was in my master's, one of my lab mates, he was in his doctorate at the time. He had written something as part of his thesis, and he got it back from the professor, and it was just destroyed. Red lines everywhere, marks all over the page. It was amazing. He'd been writing formal papers in college and grad school now for at least 10 years. 10 years takes a long time to go through your bachelor's, your master's, or PhD, and he still got it destroyed. It does not mean he was a bad writer. Welcome to the different levels. So this is becoming complicating. Here's a new problem. What exactly do I teach you format-wise? Every field writes differently. Even within field, it's different. Let's take biology. If I want to write a paper, let's say I'm doing something in ecology, I want to submit to the Journal of Ecology, okay? I have to go to the Journal of Ecology, look at that specific journal, find out how they want everything done. How do you cite? How do you format? How do you structure? How do you do everything? This is not as simple as, well, this is standard English. It's just not that simple. It doesn't work that way. And let's say I go through all that and I submit to the Journal of Ecology and it comes back and, yeah, we're not going to publish this. But I think it's good research. So I submit somewhere else. Maybe I go now to the Journal of Marine Biology and Ecology. Got to do it all over again. I have to go to the Journal of Marine Biology and Ecology, look at that journal, instructions to authors, and find out how they want everything done and restructure my whole paper. So what exactly am I supposed to teach you? Uh-oh. I mean, I can look for things like run-on sentences and dangling participles. Yeah, sure. This is challenging, but we'll do our best. Now, that being said, when you write this paper, really what you should do to get that experience, that's what this is all about, to give you experience in writing, is to go to professionals, which means the Writing Center at HEC. That's what they're there for. And ask them questions. When you submit the paper to me, this should be the final paper. It should be ready to go. Now, the Writing Center at HEC You can go and see them. You can do it online. There's a lot of ways to talk to them now. Do so. It's what they're there for. This should be the final paper. Now, here's what I want in the paper. Between now and the terminate date, you see it there, the 8th of April, find 2 articles that relate to the subject. Okay, so I wanted to show you this. I just went to Google and I plugged in zoology, as general as I could possibly make it, and looked to see what pops back. Notice I went to news. I'm looking for papers. So, okay, Per Song launches weight tracking litter box for cats. It's a technology issue. It may not work for this, only that is not full zoology, but it's still interesting. How about this one? Zoology Museum gets new building. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so I might talk about that. Wildlife at Walden's Puddle. Benefit from donated Christmas. Cool. So you can talk about that one. Is Hong Kong Zoo stuck in the dark ages or inspiring the young? That's an interesting article. And so if you wanted to do something like this, are zoos appropriate? Do zoos help the field of zoology? Do they help science? Do they help people grow in understanding? Do they hurt organisms? Looks like a lemur. It's kind of a tiny picture for me. It's like a lemur. Great topic to talk about. But you need to find 2 papers on it. This is 1 paper. Okay. Displaced by tornadoes. Dogs and cats from Kentucky up for donations. Okay. Going batty. Our local bats roost working. This is actually a really interesting topic and definitely topical. Very important organism in the environment. Bats and what they do. Yeah, I mean, they carry disease and people get all excited about that, understandably. I mean, I just read an article about 3 people last year who died of rabies. And all cases they think came from bats. But bats themselves are very ecologically important. It's a very big topic in ecology, environmental science, zoology, that kind of idea. Be a good topic. Beware of hungry bears on the prowl. Oh my, yeah, there you go. I've never heard of Dickinson Post, but okay. And so forth. Cool. And this is not hard to find. North Alabama Zoological Society facing fundraising deadline for preferred research site. Okay, there's a lot of ways you can do this. How long did it take me to start finding papers? I found 1,680,000 papers in 0.27 seconds. Cool. Wasn't hard at all. Now, granted, you have to find 2 papers. And then here's what I want you to do with them. First, I'll give you a summary of the articles. Now, it may seem a bit high schoolish, but there's a point to this. For a lot of scientists, the hardest part of a paper to write is the abstract. The abstract is effectively the summary. It's really hard to write that. To crush all that science down into a paragraph or 2. You're getting practice on that. Then I want your thoughts. So this is the end of the semester, effectively. You had 4 months, effectively, of science. You should be able to articulate your thoughts on whatever it is you're talking about, whatever the science is. So do so. Now, when we're supposed to make this somewhat meaty, there's technically not a word count in the natural sciences, but the department asked us to put something in. So I went with a standard English paper. This is like a 3 to 5 page paper, that kind of idea. Do it. And then cite your sources. I don't care how you cite it, APA, MLA, choose whatever you like. Now, I had some students at the beginning of the online stuff say, well, you're not specific enough again. Okay, how about this? I want it, and must have it, typed, double-spaced, New Roman font, size 12, 1-inch margins. Is that specific enough for you? And then turn it in on the due date. It's due by 11:59 p.m. on the 8th. Now, I had one student a couple of years ago, excuse me, it's hard to talk for a long period of time, and I've been talking for hours already today, who got really quite unhappy that I didn't assign topics. No, that's not how college works. You are not in K through 12 anymore. By this point, as a college student and an adult, you should be able to figure out a topic on your own. But that being said, to help you with that, I gave you some general ideas. For example, you have to find 2 papers on zoology in something like this. These are different fields of biology, just related to zoology in all sorts of areas. Astrobiology, bacteriology, biochemistry, biophysics, biotechnology, botany, including astrobotany, which looks like I'm going to do a doctorate in that area, cell biology, ecology, evolutionary biology, genetics, histology, invertebrate zoology, medical science, nutrition, general zoology, what do you know, mycology, phycology, physiology, vertebrate zoology, and or biology. Viruses, look what's going on right now, yeah? So virology is very important. So if you want to do mycology, fine. Go find 2 papers that relate to the zoology of mycology. I don't know, let's plug that in. Zoology of mycology. There we go. Okay, great. Let's see what we can find out. Mycology is an ever-expanding field. Go find out why. Phylogenomics. Okay, so genomics are dealing with the genome. That's your entire complex DNA. The philo part is dealing with phylogenetics. So phylogeny, that's the formal classification is what's going on here, like a systematic issue. So phylogenomics of a new fungal phylum reveals multiple This is a full paper. This is a bit more than doing like a news source. That's okay. Multiple waves of reductive evolutionary cross holomycota. Okay, really specific. I'm not looking for you to do full-blown research papers, but yeah, all right. But here's one on zoology. Fine. Here's one on zoology dealing with that. It's a lot more work than what I'm asking for. Nature is a preeminent journal, by the way. The best journal here really in the United States is a journal of Science. In Europe, it's a journal of Nature. And so, yeah, if you want to do this, you can. It's a whole lot more work than looking up like a Yahoo article or something. But hey, whatever you want to do is fine. Let's get rid of that. Okay. So again, just go and find 2 papers that relate to zoology and write about them. Do these like 5 things and you're good to go. Now, if you choose online resources, you must use a .edu, .gov, or mainstream media. Now I got to ask, what does that mean, mainstream media? Okay, ABC, CBS, CNN, Fox News, NBC, those kind of things, what it means. Now, I did remind students of this. Remember, most news sources have biases. So be aware of that. They may not be entirely as accurate or honest as they should be. For example, CNN tends to lean left, but not always. I've seen papers on CNN that lean right. Fox News tends to lean right, but not always. I've seen some articles in Fox that lean left. So again, kind of keep that in mind. There are biases that are out there. It is also considered appropriate in biology to have sources younger than 2 years, in like 2020, 2021, 2022, that kind of idea. Doesn't always happen though. Another student a couple of years ago wanted to do a book. They didn't want to do one of these. That's a lot more work than I'm asking for, so I worked with her. But the book they wanted to do was like 10 years old. But once I found out what book it was and the subject matter, yeah, it was fine. She did it. It was really quite good. Let's see. You can't do any anecdotes, interviews, movies. You can't do that. You can't go say, well, I went and talked to a zoologist down at Lowry Park or at the Florida Aquarium, and here's what they told me. No, that's not going to work. It's an anecdote. It doesn't help me. Movies. You can't go say, well, I watched the movie Don't Look Up, and here's what it was about. No. It has to be formal published work. And remember, don't turn in late. Extenuating circumstances do happen. These extenuating circumstances don't vary. And then state law requires that if you don't pass the Gordon rule, you don't pass the class. It's that simple. You can get an A on every single exam in the class, but if you don't pass the Gordon rule, you fail the class. It's that simple. State law. Now, that being said, the most common way people don't pass this is by not turning it in. Don't do that. This is stupid. You've got now until April to get it done. Get it done. It's that simple. Okay, moving on. Examinations. You'll have 5 exams in the course given through Canvas. Right. They'll be in this quizzes tab. Right now, I only have the quiz there. That's all I had time to do so far. But the exams will be there too. Now, when you do a Canvas test, you are required to use a formal desktop or laptop. You cannot use an iPad or a cellular, nothing like that. And mobiles are great, but you can't do it. I didn't even know it either. I had some students the very first time I taught using like a mobile phone and it wasn't working. What's going on? They're using Canvas. Oh, I wasn't told. So I didn't know. I now know. I've known for a long time now, which is why I have it in my syllabi. You can't do that. It must be on a formal desktop or laptop. You also must use Google Chrome. Canvas is very clear on that. And make sure everything is updated. Your browser, your operating system, that kind of idea. Don't forget, you can't use books or notes or calculators on the exam. It's not allowed. And I can't help with tech issues. I don't have any way to go into a computer and figure out what's going on technologically. If you're having a tech issue during an exam in Canvas, go right here to the help, click it, and you get to Canvas Tech Support. I note that right here. Click that help icon. Go right to Canvas Tech Support. And then don't play games. Don't say, well, I couldn't take the test because my internet went out. Okay? If that happens, you better verify it because all of this can be checked. Logs can be checked. You can't say, well, Canvas had an issue. I couldn't log in. That can be checked. I've had students try this. Didn't work. They failed. Oops. And getting a 0 on a test in this class is going to kill your grade. Don't play games. Now, if something outside of your control, I'll work with you. If Canvas is legitimately having an issue, I will work with you. It has happened before. Welcome to technology. But it better be legitimate. All right, so exams will be taken as noted in the tentative schedule. I'll show you that when we get there. When you're taking the exam, I've set it to start open at 9 a.m. and close at 11:59 p.m. You can take it any time during that span you want, but whenever you take the test, you only get 1 hour and 40 minutes. So if you start at 9 a.m., you're getting it from 9 a.m. to 10:40, kind of idea. It closes at 11:59 p.m., which means you better not start any later than 10:19 p.m. or you won't get an hour and 40 minutes. Don't do that to yourself. Now, I am giving you the luxury of taking it whenever you want during the day. Flexibility, yeah? But you only get an hour and 40 minutes for it, and you can't stop, which is where this comes in. So, as a standard in biology, I do multiple choice questions. This is pretty common, 50 to 100 questions. So you're going to get somewhere then, let's say 100 questions in an hour and 40 minutes. Okay? An hour and 40 minutes, that's 100 minutes for 100 questions. If you can't do a question a minute, something's wrong. You should be giving yourself about 30 seconds a question. You will get one question at a time and you cannot go back. There's been a lot of discussions on this, on how to do these things. And we are not the only school that does this. There's a reason for this. And if you want to go over the test, you're welcome to do so. Now, if you miss an exam, one, I don't give makeup tests outside of extenuating circumstances. If you have one of these circumstances, here's the kind of makeup you're going to get. You're going to get an oral examination. You can do it either through Microsoft Teams or setting up an appointment to come to my office. That's your makeup test. And so out of these 100 questions, they won't be the same questions, mind you. I'm not going to pull 10 questions out of the exam and say, here you go, answer these. Nope. I'm going to say something like, differentiate the Saurichians from Lepidosauruses. Can you do it or not? Or maybe I'll say, why is it the class Aves is taxonomically invalid? Explain it to me. You'll get 10 questions. You miss one, you go from 100 down to 90%, 9 out of 10 right. You miss two, 8 out of 10 right, 80%. You miss three, 7 out of 10 right, 70%. This is the only way to make it fair. I wasn't the one who thought of this, although I thought it was a good idea. Others are doing this too, because there's too many ways students try to play games, cheat, and we're not standing for it. Grading, you're in a weighted grade class. So here you go, you can see what it is. Exam 1, how much is worth? 2, 3, 4, 5, how much the homework is worth, and how much your Gordon Rule is worth. Obviously adding up to 100%. With that, I've given you an example. This is a fake student in a fake class. It's just an example how a system like this works. So notice in this fake student, they got 63 points out of 70 points on their first exam. That equates to a 90%. So that's 12% of the grade. Nice job. Exam 2, 72 out of 84, 85.7%. That's 12% of the grade. Pretty good job. And so forth. Homework. Homework is due on the day of the exam. Remember, exams close at 11:59 p.m. So you got to get the homework to by then. That's why I picked that time. Which means homework is due when you take the test. So you should have the homework done by the time you take the test. That means I can spot check the homework. You don't know which ones I'm after, so you better do them all. And if you do them all and you give them a good college try, I'll give you all the points. If you don't get all the points. And you see the student gave it a good college try, they got all the points. And the flipped classroom system, notice they got 15 points out of 20. Maybe they forgot to give me a literature cited, or they only had one paper, not two, something like that. And so they got 75% on it, 75%, that's 20% of the grade. And therefore, if you do this, you can see, for the first test, they got a 90% on it, that's 12% of the grade. Second test, they got 85.7% on it, that's 12% of the grade, and so forth. Where's the Gordon Rule? There it is. Gordon Rule, they got 75% of it, that's 20% of the grade, and so forth. There's your homework in there. When you add up all those points, you can see this fake student in this fake class got an 89.8. Nice, which means this fake student got a fake A. Great fake job. But this is highlighting the fact then, not just how the system works, but being a scientist, I like mathematics. So I follow the rules of mathematics. And in the rules of mathematics, if I can round up, I will. Here's your overall grade then. 89.5 to 100 is an A, 79.5 to 89.4 is a B, and so forth. That means then, if you get an 89.4, obviously I'm not allowed to round up, so I won't. And we will cry together. But I'll tell you this, in all of my many years of having taught, I do not recall ever having a student argue a grade on subjectivity. Well, they got an A and I got a B, that's not fair. I don't remember it ever happening. One thing I do remember this. This happened a couple of times where students will say something like, well, I don't understand why I got a B. That's perfectly valid. Let's go over your grades, see what's going on. Here's why you got a B, that kind of idea. Sure, that's valid. And by the way, if I find that I make a mistake, Yeah, you really should have had an A. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to make a calculation error. I apologize. No problem. I will change your grade. It's my error. You're not going to suffer from my error. Of course not. Remember, you cheat, you fail. Don't do it. Okay, almost done. Cell phones, pagers, recorders. I know we don't have lectures, but I don't know where you're doing things in teams and you're around other students. So I'm just trying to make sure that you be polite to others. I left this in because this is state policy now. This is how you record things. So there are rules there. I wanted to be aware of the rules. Talking in class, it really comes down to the team's appointments, that kind of idea. But again, I wanted you to have proper etiquette. You will only see extra credit on your exams. That's it. Don't ask for it because you won't get it. It's not fair for me to give you extra credit and not everybody. It's just not fair. So I won't do it. Announcements, check them regularly, every day, weekends, that kind of idea. You already saw I have 3 announcements for you. And the important notes, I am not, probably never will be a medical doctor. Therefore, don't make me out as such. My background is biology, which is really ecology and zoology and geology. A course like this is written for me. My undergrad degree was marine biology, but it was specifically marine zoology. Now, I did a lot of marine science stuff, but specifically marine zoology. My master's area was marine ecology, specifically botany within that, but it was marine ecology. So this course is like written for me, but I'm not a medical doctor. But I cannot tell you how many times students have come to me trying to ask me personal medical questions. Nope, that's inappropriate. I will not answer it. The only person who should ever answer that for you is a board certified medical doctor. That's the only one. Talk to them. Remember, if you're gone for a while, I'll help you out, but you got to come to me. This isn't high school where there's like, here you go. Welcome back to class. I don't even know how I would know that because it's online, but welcome back to class. Here's a packet. Nope. So again, you got to talk to us. Disabilities. I've given you all the contact information here for the disabilities office. Lovely people. Go and talk to them. I cannot help you unless you talk to them first. You can't send me an email saying, I need 3 hours for a test. Okay. But you have to talk to them first. Then they will send out paperwork. And if I get paperwork from them and their official paperwork says, yeah, they need 3 hours for a test. Cool, no problem. I've got zero issue with it. It's just by state law has to come from them first. Okay, go talk to them. This one's a bit on the scary side, but it's very important that our college does this. Notice that HEC has free counseling services, and they do so by connecting to Baycare. This is free, and this is amazing. And you can talk about whatever you want to, school or work or family issues or money. I don't care. Something's really stressing you out and you need to talk to somebody. This is free and confidential. I cannot tell you how valuable that is. Mental health, how important mental health is. And in today's world, it is considered a mark of health to see somebody when you need to, not to just like push it down and hope it never comes up. Yeah, I understand there's stigmas out there, but these things are changing. COVID's really come into this issue. I've read papers noting that mental health issues in the US have increased by 800% during COVID. 800%, mind you, which means it was already a messed up enough world before COVID. Now look where we are. Like most humans, you might need to talk to somebody at some point. You could do it for free. This is massively expensive. Even with health insurance, it can be massively expensive. And by the way, there are plenty of people out there trying to take your health insurance away. So again, this is free. I'll give you a case in point. A very good friend of mine. She spent 2 weeks at an inpatient center in Atlanta. It's like south part of Atlanta. It wasn't a psychiatric institute, but it was more like come here, it gives you a place to relax and de-stress and let's sit down and talk for a bit. It was kind of like that. And she was saying that after 2 weeks, she spent $130,000 US to go there for 2 weeks. Oh my God. I'm roughly $130,000 short of that $130,000. And that was the first one. She went to an outpatient center after that, and now a psychologist, psychiatrist. She's done the right thing, mind you. Absolutely the right thing. But look what it cost her, because she didn't have health insurance. Look what it cost her. This is free, folks. Use it. And connect this with a Speak Up HEC. Speak Up HEC is designed to keep you, staff, faculty, other students, and the whole college then safe. If you ever hear somebody threatening themselves, someone else, the college generally, that's what this is for, to talk to somebody. This is never meant to abuse, to try to get somebody in trouble. Don't ever do that. but it's meant to keep everyone safe, and it works. Another case in point. A student of mine, I think it was environmental science class, if I recall correctly. He's an interesting fellow, but I noted near the interterm, he just was gone. No email replies, nothing, just gone. I later found out that he was threatening the college, directly threatening the college. Now, when we get disabilities notes, we're never told why, and nor should we. It's none of our business. But we did find out because what was happening, how serious it was. It was, from my understanding, it was a case of that he had schizophrenia and stopped taking his medicine, and it was not going well. So what I understood happened was he got the help he needed. The college and everybody got together and got him the help he needed. Later on, he returned back to HEC and continued on his way. That's what it's for, to keep everybody safe, to get the help that's necessary, and let everyone continue on their way, not to get anybody in trouble. He was never in trouble, from my understanding. Just get the help they need. This is very important, folks, which goes right into this, the equity statement. Like I was saying, even in my class, but in all classes, the college generally should be a safe environment for you. And if it's not, let us know. We'll help you out. Right, so remember, syllabi, our contracts, I've tried to go over everything. 16-page syllabus, for gosh sakes. But if you have questions, let me know, I'll talk to you. They're not meant to be all-inclusive, but I'll do whatever I can to help you out. Okay, then finally get you to the tentative schedule. Now, with that, tentative schedules are used because anything can happen in life. Look at this, pandemics, fires and storms and hurricanes and terrorist threats and emergencies, whatever it is, could get in the way of things happening, which is why they're tentative schedules. So notice with a tentative schedule, in a DLON class, outside of something, one of these happening, there really isn't a reason this would be changing dates. So hopefully today, the 10th, actually I'm filming this before the 10th, but hopefully for you on the 10th, orientation video. Quiz on the syllabus, I already showed you on the 19th. Don't forget, go to the quizzes link in Canvas, click on it, and it goes right to this. And there it is, you'll take it. It doesn't open until 9 a.m. on that day. You can take whatever you want. It closes at 11:59 p.m. And like I showed you, this is 15 minutes long. And then the labs. Now I gave you dates on the labs, but you can do them whenever you want. There is going to be a handout. I'm going to post that for you. 2 handouts, actually. I'll post those for you. And they might need some supplemental instructions, but nothing is due until the day of the exam. So all this homework, the homework in your book, don't forget the homework section I have in the syllabus. It's due on the day of the test, by 11:59 on the day of the test, which means you have it done before the exam. You've asked your questions before the exam. And I was even, courteous enough, I'll just say we have a test on chapters 1 to 4 and labs 1 to 3. I wrote out what it was. Here's labs 1 to 3 and chapters 1 to 4 in case you forgot. Here's what it is. On the 23rd of February, remember it closes by 11:59 p.m. You'll get an hour and 40 minutes so long as you give yourself an hour and 40 minutes. The second set of labs and the second set of chapters for the test number 2, you see it's on the 28th of March. Exam 3, exam 4, and exam 5. There you go. And you can see when the final is, just the last test. It's not cumulative, it's just this. Labs 11, 13, I have it right there. Chapter 17 to 20 and labs 11 to 13. And so right there, here's chapter 17 to 20. You can see it's not cumulative. The college has set that it'll be on Wednesday, the 4th of May. Again, it's the same kind of idea. It opens at 9, closes by 11:59 p.m. You get an hour and 40 minutes. Make sure you give yourself the hour and 40 minutes. And then at the very end, like I said, I have a frequently asked questions. These are the things I get over and over and over again. So I just thought I'd write them out for you to save us both a little bit of time. So there you go. There's your syllabus and all of its wonderful glory. That's still, of course, back here in your files. But at this point, I've showed you your syllabus file, all those lectures, all here ready for you to go. The labs, of course, with the lab manual. And as we need them, I'll put up any additional instructions that you need here. The discussion board, you can't see it on your view right now. I mean, right now, for example, if I click student view, this is what you see. Notice you don't see, well, you shouldn't, hang on, let's go home. You see it because I had to click there. Notice here, you don't see discussions listed here because I haven't posted anything yet. But the first time I post, then you'll see it in your links. All right, so let's leave student view, go back to my view. All right, so discussions again. I'll post something here. And remember, like I said in the syllabus, this is student driven. This is for you guys to talk about. I'll ask you a question like differentiate Lamarckism from Darwinism, something like that. Okay, talk about it. This isn't for me to tell you. You don't need a lecture from me. You've read your chapter. You've read the posted notes. This is for you guys to come together and chat about it. Here's what I think about that. Here's why I think Lamarckism has some work to it or not, or why Darwinism is what it is, whatever. And then my job, of course, is to moderate, chime in when I absolutely have to, that kind of idea. And don't forget, it's not just discussions. I'll also post like in the, you're talking about this, news and notes, we're supposed to be working on this. Don't forget about this lab coming up, that kind of idea. Quizzes are just that. Now grades, there's nothing here. I mean, it's just the list of what you're going to be doing. This is the same with your syllabus. You can see the extra credit and homework 1, homework 2, homework 3, that kind of idea. Obviously your view is different than my view, but that's what it is. You do have a grade thing in your view, but it's just a little bit different looking. Of course, you won't see anybody else's grades, of course, just your grades. The Connect, don't forget, like I said earlier, you have to go to the Mabry campus, buy the access code if you want the ebook, and then you can register. You either need the ebook again or the physical book, one of the two. And then I put it here just to have it here. You may never need it, but the library, if you want to use it, there you go. We can link to the library. And there you go. There's the course in all of its lovely grandeur. So with that, of course, if you have any questions, let me know. Don't forget, we're already ready for another rotation video. We're coming up on our first quiz. And of course, your email, staying on watching the class, the whole shebang. If you have any questions, email me. Remember how emails work in the course. And try and have a good time. And there's a lot to learn here. I know that. There's not much I can do about that. The course intended outcomes are set by the college, but doesn't mean you can't enjoy it. Yeah. Try to make it a nice, comfortable atmosphere for you, me, everybody. And don't forget those discussions, make them friendly, that kind of idea. But beyond that, it is lovely to meet you. And hopefully it's a great term for everybody. Bye, folks. Welcome to the class and have yourself a lovely, lovely day.